Hello everybody, welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Oana.
So we are going to talk today about moving tips, okay? And we're going to give some specific Las Vegas tips later on in the video. So you have to watch it all the way to the end, unfortunately now. Darn it. If you're moving to Vegas, you're moving from Vegas. Okay. All right. The first tip is declutter and donate.
Yes. So you are moving, and we all have all kinds of things that we don't need, don't use, and we have no idea where they came from or why we've kept them, and we all have junk drawers. Go through all these things, get rid of anything that's not worth packing, that's not worth taking with you, get rid of the clothes that don't fit, are worn out, just use this opportunity to feng shui your life, to simplify your life and keep just the good stuff.
Yeah, this is, moving is always a good time to get rid of all that stuff that is in your garage that you probably, it's been sitting there forever and you've never used. And if you haven't touched it in a long time, it doesn't have sentimental value, you probably don't need it anymore.
Right.
So get rid of it.
And somebody else can use it, so if it's good stuff, donate it.
The next tip is to set up moving services.
Yes. So moving services, whether you're having somebody do your packing and moving and you're just making some phone calls, writing a check and letting somebody else handle it, or whether you're doing a mixture of packing yourself and having somebody help you, or whether you're doing it all by yourself, it still requires a lot of homework. So do your homework, depending on where you're moving from or to. That there could be some shortage of moving people. And the other thing to keep in mind is that these people sometimes get booked up well in advance. I've known it to be 30 days booked out or more. So please make sure that you're planning this well in advance of your move.
The next tip is utilities.
Oh, utilities. Okay, so utilities are an interesting thing. Whether you're moving across town or across the country, you need to change your utilities, right? And you need to know sometimes there's an order that things have to be done in. So for example, in Las Vegas, the gas company will not turn the gas on until you have the water on. So you have to kind of know the lay of the land as to what's going on. So make sure that you get with your utility companies and get that all set up. Most of them are very good and you can do them online. Some do require a phone call. Sometimes you will need a letter of credit from your current utility company, and that just says that you've been paying your bill on time and that sort of thing, and that may help with deposits. A lot of utilities want deposits if you're new to the area, so anything that you can do to avoid those deposits is generally helpful. Those deposits vary from a few dollars to a few $100s per utility, so it is worth your while to find out what deposits are required and how you can get them waived.
And then the thing to remember too is it's not only the utilities for where you're moving to, but stopping utilities for where you live, because you don't want the next person to show up and just move in and forget, but then you're still paying for it for their utilities.
Right.
And then also keep in mind that some of the utilities, like cable is a famous one and gas too, you have to be there for it. A lot of times you have to physically be there. And they give you like a 32-hour window when they're going to be there. So it's you want to make sure you have that all squared away.
Absolutely.
All right, the next tip, it's one that people always miss, is forwarding address and mailbox keys. You should do those together. Those kind of go together.
Right. So this kind of has a couple different steps. So first of all, make sure that you let your insurance company, your employer, your friends and family, all these people know what your new address is going to be. Remember, your car insurance and that sort of thing is based on your zip code, so it is important that they know where you're moving to. Next, your forwarding address. So make sure that you are doing your forwarding with the Postal Service. Now, it takes them a while to catch on, okay? So make sure that you do it early on in the process so that it gives them time to get their act together and get your mail going to the right place. Hopefully you don't have a lot of mail being forwarded because you've changed your address with all the important people. And then the mailbox key. So here's the game with the mailbox key for those of you that have mailbox keys. If you turn in a mailbox key to the post office and you ask them to rekey the mailbox because you are new to that mailbox, they will generally do that for you for free.
Free.
If you tell them the key that you don't have the key, that it's been lost, anything like that, they will charge you for it. My advice is if you have 2 mailbox keys, give the post office 1 mailbox key and then hang on to the other one. And here's the reason. because the post office is not going to tell you, oh, we're going to rekey the mailbox on Tuesday. They're just going to do it at their convenience. So what you're doing is you're using the spare key to keep accessing that mailbox. When that spare key stops working, you know they've rekeyed the mailbox. So then you can go to the post office and pick up the new keys. Now, you will need a copy of either a lease agreement or the closing settlement statement or something like that to take to the post office to get them to go ahead and rekey the key for you. And then also the same thing as far as having ID to match that. So they will require proof that you are living there and your ID in order to do this service for you.
The next tip is planning for the pets.
Planning for the pets. So let's talk about our fur babies. Sometimes we forget about them.
What if you have a desert tortoise? They don't have any fur.
Well, that's a baby too.
Okay.
So our pet babies are really important, and we have to plan for them. Whether we're moving across town or across the country, we do have to plan for them. Things like food, transportation, how they're getting there, whatever their favorite toys are, maybe a trip to the vet to get all their veterinary records and a clean bill of health, because we might need that, particularly if you're going across somewhere else where you're renting. Your landlord may require that, so you want to make sure that you're bringing that with you, okay? Any pet licenses that you need to have, all that sort of thing. Those are all really good things to have. Vaccination records, getting them chipped. So remember, the pets get stressed when we move, right? And they have a tendency to want to go back to their previous home. So it's a good time for you to get your pet chipped if you don't have your pet chipped already, so that if they do by chance get out and somebody kind finds them, they will be able to take them to a vet. The vet will be able to read the chip and give you a call and say, hey, I have Fluffy, come pick up Fluffy.
All right. The next step is if you were not able to get movers and you have to do it yourself.
Right.
So it's, getting creative with moving materials, labeling boxes, and, because what's going to happen is, as soon as you put stuff in boxes, if you don't know where it is, and you get to the new place, and you're immediately going to need something.
Right.
Something's going to happen, you're going to need that one thing, and you're not going to know where it is.
So I have a story for you.
Okay.
A long time ago, I moved with a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old by myself. So those of you who have young kids know that there is some toy, and it's not necessarily the same toy every time, that they have to have, or your world will come to an end. Never mind their world, your world will come to an end. So in order to avoid the collapse of my world, what I did is I actually wrote down every single thing that I put in every single box, and I taped that list to the outside of the box. I had a copy of that list in my binder, and then also on the side of the box in big numbers I wrote a number. So each list had a number, an inventory, and the corresponding thing was in my binder. And so we went through this. By the time we moved, I had literally a garage full of stuff because I was moving a fair size house. And so I was very organized about it, and I was able to get to everything for my kids, because we actually did 2 moves. We had to move to a rental house and then to the house that we bought. And then I got very creative with my packing material. I used socks, I used towels, I used sheets to wrap my delicates and the things that were breakable for the move. I did have movers that actually trucked stuff for me and packed something, so they packed like the furniture and that sort of thing, but the contents they didn't pack. I packed that because honestly, I thought I would do a better job and I would end up with less breakage. And I was right. I moved an entire china set that way. Nothing was broken. I moved all kinds of things that were very breakable, and nothing was broken. And with 2 little kids, I was actually able to keep them satisfied through 2 moves back to back by having my trusty binder with everything in it.
And Oana is Romanian, born and mostly raised. And I will agree that she has everything cataloged and organized. Very organized. The last tip is the one people forget all the time.
Okay.
It's packing the overnight bag with like the stuff you need: toothbrush, comb, deodorant, like the random stuff that you'll get to the house and you may have to sleep on the floor one night. And
right.
they packed up your bathroom, and or you packed it up, and now it's all who knows where it is.
Right. So what I've done when we've moved is I had a backpack for everybody, and in the backpack was everything that you needed. We had socks, we had underwear, we had t-shirts, and all that good stuff. We also had snacks, people's favorite snacks, and because that's kind of important. It's comforting when you're moving someplace to have something familiar, something that makes you feel good. The other thing that I think we forgot to mention is schools. So if you have kids, make sure that you know something about the schools where you're moving. Do some homework ahead of time as far as anything that those schools may require, particularly if you have children that have been in school before, so any school transcripts, anything like that. So you bring those with you. Even if you're just moving across town, don't assume that they're going to be able to get all those records from your previous school across town. Assume nothing, bring everything with you. You'll be happy you did.
Vaccination record. If it's
Yes.
packed, they probably won't let the kids start.
Right, vaccination records, all that sort of thing. Make sure you have it with you. You'll be very glad you did. Especially now with all of our smartphones, it's easy for us to scan copies of all this. If you go into notes on your iPhone and then use the little camera icon, and then you have a choice for scan, it'll actually scan the document. And so it's fantastic. And you take that with you, and you can take it to school. So if they don't have those records, you've got them, and it makes life a whole lot easier. Moving is stressful, so anything that we can do to make it easier and less stressful, we're totally on board with that.
And then finally, if you're moving to or from Las Vegas, we're going to gift you with all the utility information.
Yes.
Okay? So it's down in the description. You have to go down in the description. We'll put it all in there. I think it's phone number and web address, maybe.
Right. So I've got all the information there for you, both all for Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, and Clark County.
Yeah, they're all different.
So I'm trying to help you out here.
People say they live in Vegas, but they live in North Las Vegas, Henderson, or Clark County. And you may live in, we should do a whole nother video showing the valley, because people say they live in Vegas, but they don't actually live in the city of Las Vegas. They live in Clark County. And what's funny is it's independent of zip code. So that some zip codes are fully within Las Vegas, and then some split. Like the Henderson zip codes are separate, North Las Vegas, but the Las Vegas zip codes, you could live in a Las Vegas zip code, but you're actually in Clark County, but then somewhere else in the zip code, they're in the city. It's really ridiculous.
Yeah. When I lived in Henderson, I actually lived in what I call a donut hole, because Henderson was completely all around me, and I was in the donut hole, and that was Las Vegas.
Yeah, we'll do a video on the donut hole.
But I had a Henderson address and zip code, even though I lived in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's a weird area. You could probably find it on the map. All right, if you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Leave us comments, share the video. Anybody moving, coming, going. This is a helpful video for everybody, so please share the video with your friends.
And our contact information is in the bottom if you have other questions.
Absolutely. See you on the next video.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.